This is the Risk Grandnovice Series, where I, a Grandmaster on the free-for-all ladder, share a lower ranked game. From this, hopefully more people will see the game of Risk, newer players can improve their play, and maybe we'll get to see something crazy. So the main thing to take from this is you do not have to be number one to have fun. So get out there, play some Risk, and have some fun, because that's what this is about. So, looking at the game here, I'm going to go ahead and place my capital somewhere that isn't directly in the way of anyone else, because my goal is to be as unimpactful on the game as possible, so we can see how lower ranked players play, and we can discuss it, we can look at it, we can analyze it, we can enjoy it, and waiting for the red player to take their turn. And they do choose a capital spot, so let's put ourselves over here out of the way and talk about the settings here. So this is going to be on the map Skull and Crossbones. It is 120 second turn timers, AI difficulty medium, ranked, yes, of course. Progressive card bonus, so we might see it get a little explosive. Balance blitz dice, this is up to intermediate, so novice to intermediate. And Alliance is off, Fog of War off, Blizzard's off, inactivity behavior neutral, so if you bot out, your bot's going to hang out, maybe stack on your capital and be in the way of everybody else, and portals are off. So looking at the initial cap placements here, we have the blue player and the red player in direct conflict for these bonuses, and for the bonus in the top left, but it's only a +2, and it is not going to be necessary to hold a bonus on this map. If you can hold out, have a stack floating around so you can continue to take cards, although it is a possibility that the red player gets card blocked at some point. Card blocking on this is very easy to do because it can get so congested, and pathing is very interesting. And actually the orange player for some reason traps me in. I didn't even notice that. So what we're going to do is I think we're going to keep our capital on 7 or 8. That is what we have done in the past on this series. So it's not a free capital. I'm not just giving it to someone else, but it also isn't too hard to take, and I can eventually be eliminated. So right now we're gonna go ahead and roll ourselves out of the game a little bit here. So the orange player has capped down there for some reason. I'm not quite sure what the reason is, but they have. And just directly blocking me if I were actually playing from taking any bonuses is a very interesting cap spot. I actually think if they're going to cap anywhere, they may as well have capped right here. Perhaps they're capping right here because they want an infinite trading spot where they can also eventually card block me. So if I was going to trade cards with them, I suppose we could do it right here, but I think I would also be upset that they have now blocked me in, and I would have to worry about my externals being removed, and then I'm stuck here and I'm card blocked and I have nowhere to go. I think if the cap was going to go anywhere from the orange player, it may as well have went here, because this is going to have more access out, is going to be slightly harder, and I do get rolled by the orange player, and are they going to continue to roll? They may as well take that. They do, so now they can fortify this 5 over here, and then this 5 will be guarding both of these capitals. Very interesting play from the yellow player, making some early moves, and they could just choose to leave their 5 here, but then they're risking other players trying to break through. So they are risking this a little bit. It is unlikely that anyone's going to be able to break through, but it's not impossible. So let's see what the white player chooses to do. They are going to be securing a bonus, it looks like, although I would not anticipate the white player to be able to hold that bonus. So, very interesting play from the orange player, going for that early bang, that early gotcha. I don't think that had anything to do with the player that I am. I think that had everything to do with the player that the orange player is. And very interesting move. The red player taking a card, hitting another stack for some reason, not necessary. They really just need to have an external stack, take a card, and pass. So, oh, it is my turn. Let's see if we can find a place to roll ourselves down. So this game right now, the orange player looking like they're in a decent position. The red and blue player, if they can work together, could trade stacks, but the blue player is going to hold the possibility of a card block on the red player, and neither of them are going to be securing that bonus or maybe even any bonus before the card trades get really big. And the pink player establishing their bonus right now, I think this is really good to be able to do that on round 2. The pink player holding their bonus early, which is a +2, and while that might not be the thing that pushes the game over and they take the W, right? That's probably not what it's going to be. It will keep them safe in the early game and into the mid game when they have those little bit of troops more than everybody else has, and those first trades start to come in that aren't very big. Those extra 2 troops for the next couple rounds are going to be very important in securing that safety that other players aren't going to be able to have. So the blue player does break the central bonus, that +5 of the white players, which I think was a good idea. It was a 3-on-1 roll. It was not 100% guarantee, and they would have had to look to take a card somewhere else, but they did have other options. They had this 3 right here they could have rolled. They had this 3 up here that doesn't have any obvious places to roll, but they do have this 18, and they could at any point choose to trade with red or to go right here, although that would then stop their 18 from being able to come out in the future unless it was opened back up. The white player, I'm not quite so sure about them trying to secure this this central bonus over and over again. I don't think they're going to hold. And right now, the orange player, when you look at the map, just look how much of the map has orange. They are clogging up so many things with their little stacks, just an annoyance to have to hit. And actually, the red player hits the pink player. That was very unexpected. Are they actually going to fortify this 4 up? They will be right in the pink player's face. Oh, they're going to continue attacking the pink player. This is very interesting because they do actually open up the stack from the capital. So that is something that will have the opportunity to attack that would not have otherwise had they not rolled 1 more forward. So now instead of only this 6 being able to come down and hit up, this 5 can now also hit down and the 6 can hit over. So I wouldn't expect the red player to be maintaining that position right now. Let's see what the pink player chooses to do. This is their chance to respond to the red player. What do? Do they just take a card and pass? They lost a whole lot of troops right now. That security that they had, now they're on par with all the other players, and they're not going to be any more well off than any of the other players as far as having those extra little bit of cards as those early traits come in and we transition into the mid game. So they do just take a card and fortify 2 of the little stacks together. Maybe be a little bit more annoying to hit, maybe get out of the way of someone else. Let's see what the blue player chooses to do here. And these trades are going to be very interesting because a lot of people have weak capitals right now on the map, and the 8 of the white player very weak right now, although if the orange player allows it, they'll continue to hold their bonus. The 10 capital of the pink player, those aren't going to be super threatened in the early game, but as we transition into the mid game, those are much too low of a size of capitals, and they need to be much higher. The blue player has the right idea here, although they could easily be card blocked with not spreading out some of those troops into other areas. They're really just rolling down other areas, taking easy cards where they can, but maybe not setting themselves up for a good mid game or late game. The blue player did roll the 3-on-1 and it was successful, but now they're just doing nothing. Have they left the game? That would be very interesting, because if they leave the game and they're gone for that waiting period of 10 minutes before you surrender, they're going to continue to stack. I see these getting taken out very easily, and then all of those bonus 5 cards every round going right here onto this capital, and the orange player is going to be trapped in there. That would be a very interesting turn of events, although maybe the blue player has not left yet. Let's check. No, so they are still here. Maybe they were just thinking, maybe they were grabbing a drink of water, who knows what they were doing, but it does seem like they are here. and I am going to be removed from the game. That is completely okay. And it almost looks like the orange player chose to take me out of the game instead of breaking the white player. So the white player is in an amazing position, still vulnerable, but in a much, much better position than all the other players. Look, they have 42 troops right now to the 24 of the pink players, allowing the +5 to be held, but not the +2 to be held. That's very interesting. The white player looking very scary right now, but like I said, still vulnerable and actually making themselves fairly weak right now while they take their second bonus. How are they going to choose to defend that? They do move some of that 14 over, splitting it off and guarding the bonus with a 9, but that capital is still, it is open. And this is going to be so volatile as we get into the mid game. The red player dealing with the patience of the pink player. The pink player did not choose to smack them back, just stack their capital. And now the pink player is in a position where they could try and eventually attempt to retake their bonus, although they might not want to lock their 10 up anymore. They might want to be able to stack on it and still be able to move out. What will they choose to do? We are kind of in a position of chicken right now, where if nobody stands up to the white player, it is going to start getting very scary for all the other players. As you can see right here, we've got these light guards here on the borders, and then if there's no guard right here, so you might be thinking, oh, they're vulnerable right here. Well, if someone were to come through here and break this bonus, they'd be opening up the 9 to retake. So the orange player looking very strong in this game, and nobody has traded in yet. So we might see the standard waiting for everyone to have 5 cards. So the white player will get the smallest trade in, but these bonuses are going to more than make up for that. Getting that +5 and potentially getting a +2, that is 7 extra troops over the next round. That's almost as if those 7 extra troops, they are now second, they're like 3rd or 4th in the trade rotation, somewhere in there, instead of being 1st in trade rotation. Almost neutralizes that brief period where you get the smallest trade in. The orange player continuing to expand. They are not going to play nice with the white player. This is very dangerous right now, because we could see this 8 hit the 11, come through and try to secure these. And if that happens, which is a very real possibility, this 8 will not be in a position to respond. So no, they do pull back, but nothing saying that the white player could not choose to retaliate and attempt to take those capitals. What does the white player choose to do here? Playing nice with the pink player so far, not breaking that bonus. The red player still has an external. It is a 6. It's going to be painful for someone else to take that out. The blue player still having externals, though not as painful to attack. So the early trade-in does come in for white, and I think this is, I will not disagree with this choice. Reason being is they're going to get the smallest trade-in anyway if everybody plays standard. So if they think doing this trade-in right now is going to give them an advantage that puts them in a position where they do not have to be as weak. And how I should phrase this is, if trading in early now sets you up to be stronger later, it's not a bad decision. So they actually do not retake their bonus, do not reopen the 11. I think the white player here is a very smart player, very strong player, understanding this game. What does the pink player choose to do here? Now has hold their bonus for at least 2 turn rotations. They're going to stack their capital, but do they have a card? Do they have a place they can attack? They can attack with this 4 down here. Maybe they should anticipate eventually losing it anyway and start rolling this 4 out and trying to secure some cards from it, because it does look like the orange player not very friendly and probably wants to take that bonus down there, although I think no one's going to let them hold this bonus. And it is a risky attempt to take that bonus down there as the orange player, because trade-ins are going to start getting really large and you're going to need to stack your capital. It looks like the blue player has decided to start trading cards internally with the red player. I do not disagree with this idea. It is not a bad idea. And I think if I'm the red player, what I do is I continue taking cards with my external if I can. So that way you'll have these cards eventually to trade, or at least take if the blue player decides to not continue to trade with you. The issue is if you do not establish that card trading relationship early, then maybe that trust won't exist there in the future when the trade-ins are large. So is it going to be interesting to see what the red player chooses to do here and how they want to proceed with that relationship. The white player just taking a card, stacking, keeping themselves protected as we have the forced trade-ins coming from the other players. As you can see, the red player did not really lose anything by taking that early trade-in. So they are attacking. And I'm not sure what the point of this is. This is, oh my gosh, they roll into the blue player. The only person who can capitalize right now on this is the pink player. And it is very unlikely that they're going to be able to make their way over. So the blue player is going to end up securing this capital, securing this bonus, still card blockable, but now they're not going to be in that position where they're contesting with the red player, worrying if they can trust each other. So not too bad, a small setback for the blue player, but they can quickly recover and they are in a better position, or at least a less shakeable position, I should say, considering they do not have to worry if they need to work with the red player, if the red player is someone who understands card trading with each other. What is the pink player going to do? So they're actually adding down there, which I think is a very interesting move. I'm not sure I agree with it because the orange player is clearly expanding down there. So they are attacking out of that area. Perhaps they are wanting the white player to move that 3 out of the way, or they're wanting to be in a three-way position right here where the pink player can trade cards, the white player can trade cards, and the orange player can trade cards, although the orange player probably just wants this bonus. We might see some work together. Maybe this 9 moves up and then the 3 players here choose to trade cards. We'll see if that level of coordination is available and if they want to work together like that, although I think probably not, especially considering if they did something like that arrangement, the orange player would be getting +7 and the other players would just be getting +2. So the blue player on their way to recovering, good for them. They are not into volatile situation where they cannot continue to hold on. They will continue to hold on and they will eventually get their way back up to the other players, although they might not ever catch up unless we see some battles, just because of how the other players have held these bonus troops for so much longer. But as we get deeper into the game, that little difference of 7, 8, 9, 12 troops isn't going to matter as much. When we get into the late game, we can see +2 and +2 held by the pink player and the white player, and of course the orange player, since was it turn 1, has held 2 capitals, which means they got bonus troops from that, and they've held, I guess now 15 territories they've had, so they've been getting bonus troops from that, and looks like they might be attempting to secure their bonus right now, which is very dangerous. I don't think anyone's going to let them hold. Are they going to choose to attack one more time? They do. Do they stop right there? Do they split? They should stop here and they should split, but we'll see how this goes about. I do not anticipate them holding this without brute force. Like, I do not think it is possible. I think it's possible, but I do not think, considering the orange player broke the white player earlier, that the white player wouldn't attempt to break the orange player now. So one of the questions is going to be, does the white player have a trade on 3? Do they choose to use it? Where they choose to attack? It looks like they're just going to take a card, maybe realizing they're not in a position where they will be so weak that if they do something, it will make them very vulnerable. But, oh, and actually, it looks like they're going to be removing the red player. That is an amazing move because it's going to give them a forced trade-in. And what they're going to do with that trade-in, I imagine, is going to the orange player. This is an amazing move from the white player. They are showing their strengths. They take out the red player. What happens now? The blue player could have chosen to guard that red player removal, but they did not. Those 3 cards would have become much more valuable as we went later into the game. Much more valuable than just having that +2 for a little bit of time. Although this risk right now, I do not disagree with it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think they have now I was talking about the risk right now from giving those 3 cards potentially to someone else from the blue player, but right now the white player completely over attacking, making themselves very vulnerable. If the pink player has a trade on 3, they could choose to take the white player's capital. They are just way over attacking, and they should probably settle down a little bit. They are trying to roll this 2 down so they can fortify the 9 in. That's what they're trying to do right now, and it may be successful. Very frustrating for the white player. It is not successful roll. They are not able to take this out, so they cannot fortify this 9 over to help themselves out. So instead, they're going to fortify 2 over and hope that the pink player does not have a trade on 3. Pink player does have a trade on 3. What are they going to choose to do with it? They are in a very good position right now, holding 70 troops and having the highest trade in so far. This is their time to make moves. They aren't really in a position to remove anybody else, even if they might have the troops technically to be able to do so. Everyone's so spread out that it is very unlikely, and the pink player maybe just taking this trade in to be safe. Maybe they want to secure also a second continent. Let's see what they choose to do. Pink player taking their time. They have plenty of it with 120-second turn timers. Thinking about what they need to do. They've only used half of it. That is a very scary stack. Are they going to secure a second continent? They could do so right now, and while doing that, get a +4 and remove the blue player's external stack, but that would make them a bit more vulnerable, a bit more of a target, and it's not necessary as we get deeper into these trades. What does the blue player choose to do here? They should not attack with that 33. That'd be a very bad idea. It's going to lock themselves in if they choose to do so. Very good idea, just hitting the 1, fortifying back. They really should, in my opinion, they should have fortified back, because now if this 11 wants to go somewhere, it has to choose between hitting the white 4 or hitting the pink 5. And they could choose to hit the pink 5 and the pink 1, removing the external of the blue player, forcing them to trap themselves in by attacking right here, meaning this capital will now not be open to the world for the blue player, but the rest of the world can come in through there. How does the orange player respond? They have held they've been like a bulldozer. They are just pushing through. What are they going to choose to do now? They're almost tempting the white player, saying, hit me here again. Do it again. It's going to make you so much more weaker. And I do not like this mutual destruction going between the two, but I think the orange player and the white player not playing nice, it's hurting both of them. So let's see what happens here. The orange player now looking to fortify. They're thinking about, well, I've left myself vulnerable right here, and they have. So what are they going to choose to do? Maybe realizing the card trades are getting pretty big, they should fortify something onto this 18. Probably not fortify anything off of the 18. I might actually like to see this 3 come down to this capital something to be a bit more defensive. I don't mind that 3 coming over to be defensive right here, although if the white player wants to, they could roll it. If they're going to have to fortify this 3 here, the other 3 over, I think the 3 here needs to move right here so other players can tack around it, don't need to go through the orange player to get across the board right here. And they actually do end up fortifying this 3 down and over, but it is going to be a break with 100% roll from the white player. The white player attacking the orange player twice, getting them under 15 troops. They don't get that bonus troop, although the orange player could have a trade on 4, and that would be very painful. It'd be painful for the white player. And it's interesting because you might think, well, if the orange player had let the white player hold earlier, their +5, then the orange player would get to continue to hold their +7. I don't think so. I think the white player was getting in a position where they could snowball off of that early game, and conflict is a part of this game. So I don't know if there was a reasonable world where they both held with each other as neighbors. What does the blue player choose to do here? They're kind of an understated player right now. I am not seeing a lot from them either way. They're making good moves, but they haven't done anything well, actually they roll 6 on 3 which is not 100% roll, but they get great dice and they're able to maintain their position up there. And I think I like leaving the 4 right here. What that does, like I suggested for the orange player, it allows players to get through this part of the map without having to remove you or hit you hard and on a stack that you don't want to lose. So what does the orange player choose to do here? It looks like they are not going to continue and fight with the white player. Oh my gosh, I should take that back because that does not seem true. Looks like we are going to see some stacks hit each other. We might even see this 11 come down and take out these stacks. We might see the 11 come through and around here, removing the externals of the white player. Let's see what the orange player chooses to do here. They have plenty of time to make a decision. Leaving 2s behind, very interesting. So this is not something that maybe, I don't know why they left that 2 behind, but that was not necessary because every player here is getting enough troops each turn. They're getting at least 6 troops each turn. They've got their bonuses plus their capital. They have enough to get 100% roll on a 6 or with a 6 on a 2. So the white player saying, hey, maybe I'll move out next turn. We'll see if the orange player is okay with waiting that long. Although everyone here is not doing that bad. They're pretty even. The blue player are going to have that trade in on 5, being a little bit out of order in the rotation. Or I suppose maybe they're right where they need to be, and everybody else has just been trading, putting in those earlier trade-ins because they've been fortunate enough to have them. The pink player moving up, actually card blocking the blue player, saying if you want to continue to collect cards up here, you're going to have to put a lot more troops down to hit an 11 or hit an 8. And we'll see what they choose to do. Looks like they are not going to continue with taking cards with that external. They're going to lock themselves in here. And now this 84, if it gets fortified back to the capital, will not have access out to the world. But they could choose to split stack, which they choose to do. And are they going to hit the orange player? This is very interesting. Somebody, a third party coming in to this orange and white fight. And the blue player now putting themselves in a very strong position, probably going to actually stack on that capital, which they should have been doing this entire time. I think we can leave this 30 here, fortify this 8 back up. So we would have to be worried about the trade-ins of the future trade-ins of the other players, but they would have to have, number one, a trade on 3 and a stack that can respond to that. And I think that is very unlikely to happen right now, especially with how clogged up the map is. This 40 can't get anywhere. This 47 would have to go through this 36, although we might see that change. Still, it's going to have to go through this 35. It would just be hard to get there, but the white player is probably in the best position to respond if they even have a trade. The orange player kind of just, they're completely over attacking right now. It is very unfortunate because they are in a position now where they are not safe. So continuing to attack around like this when they're not safe and they don't have this guaranteed continued troop income, and they open up the blues capital, the 32. Now that 32 has access out to the world, if they continue to attack, wow. So they also open up the 30 to the world for the blue player. The blue player is in a lovely position. The orange player could have chose to play a little safe, could have chose to maybe try and take this central bonus and play nice with everybody else and continue to take cards, but no, they start attacking out. Looks like they have decided they do not want to continue much in this game. It might be worth it to... Oh, okay, so they do roll the capital, and now the orange player or the white player with a trade-in is in a position where they could respond. Potentially the pink player with the trade-in in a position where they could respond, but maybe the orange player could have waited a bit to see if they have a trade on 3. That is a very real possibility, but they choose not to. They're just going to roll themselves down, and it's going to give them someone the ability to take the orange player out for 3 cards eventually. So we're going to see how that ends up playing out. The orange player being removed for their 3 cards. Perhaps someone can do that strategically in such a way. And the white player does have a trade on 3. It is 40 troops. They could choose to take a capital, any capital right now if they really wanted to. Perhaps the pink capital would be harder to take, but not impossible. It wouldn't be a 0% roll if the dice were right. What does the white player choose to do here? Are they going to choose to remove the orange player? I do not think so, but it is a very real possibility. Instead, they could just take this capital from the blue player. No, they're not doing that. Maybe they see a crisp line to be able to take out the orange player. Are they going to split right? They do split correctly, so they understand that a 4 is all that's needed for a 100% roll on a 1. So we are dealing with a strong player right here, but we are dealing with blue perhaps in a stronger position unless the white player chooses to do something right about now. They could choose to take this capital down here from the blue player and remove the orange player if they really wanted to. Perhaps they will do that. Let's find out. Would be a great move. Put them in a very strong position, and then other players with trades on 3 would have to worry about that. What I mean by worry about that is other players with trades on 3 would have to worry about if they're going to choose to take one of these capitals that are available to all the other players. Now, what I think is going to be interesting is, does the white player take... Oh god, they got a roll that was not very kind to them. I do not think so. They lost 34 troops on that roll, so they're actually in a very vulnerable position. This 15 needs to fortify over here right away. Yes, so they understand that they need to have their troops on the capital. Can the pink player respond? Their 40's trapped. Their 40 can't go anywhere. Imagine if they had access to that right now, but they don't. Pink player making a very interesting decision, playing nice with the white player, not doing much. They could have easily at least taken this bonus. They could have activated this 40. There's so much they could have done, but they chose to do nothing. And now it's up to the blue player to do something about the situation, at least break all the bonuses. Not doing so would be agreeing to give the game to the white player. And what I might even like to see is the blue player to attack up and give this 40 a way out. That is a great idea. Do not keep attacking though. Awesome. So this 40 now has access to the world. We can see the blue player also very strong in their understanding of the game. The white player, perhaps they're going to attack back and they're going to attempt to card block the blue player. It would not be, I don't think they could establish this right away, especially considering how vulnerable they are and this pink player having access to the world. But eventually a card block is very possible on the blue player, especially through the next card rotations. 45 troops from the pink player. They could do so much if they put down their 40 stack and attack around. They are in a position where they could set themselves up. They could set up multiple card blocks. The game is in their hands. If they want to do something, this is their time. See how much they lose when they roll the capital. So they do roll the white player's capital and they lose. Looks like they might even be using the slider right now. They lose 59 troops. That is so painful. That is so painful from the pink player. They should leave all the troops they can on this because right now, both players, potentially the blue player having a trade, definitely the white player having a trade. Let's see what the blue player does. If they don't have a trade, this is a very rough position to be in, and looks like they don't. They're not even going to take a card, are they? They do have a trade and it's coming out. What are they going to do? The white player in a so vulnerable, even though they're going to have a trade on 5, they're not going to be removed right now, but this area could be taken by the blue player. It could be a horrible roll, could be a great roll. That might determine what and it is not a great roll, but it could be worse. Now we'll see what the white player chooses to do. Guaranteed trade in, but in a very vulnerable and very weak position relative to the other two players. What does the white player choose to do here? The game is not over for them. Oh, I hope the white player has not left the game. This is... It's very interesting. It's cool to see. Look at all the pink on one side, all the blue on one side. It would be interesting to see them clash, but it looks like the white player, are they still here? They are, and they're going to choose to retake those two capitals in the bottom left. Decent roll, better roll than we've been seeing from the other players, and looks like they might even choose to break right here, the pink players. So for some reason, the white player eyes on the blue player, I feel like more so than on the pink player, but that might just be because of the position of everybody. Oh my gosh, and the white player not putting their troops on the capital. Very risky. No one right here is going to be able to do anything, but as trade-ins start to come around again, it's a very real possibility. Maybe they have something up their sleeve. Maybe the white player has a trade on 3 and they know it. Not a great roll from the pink player. What can they do about it? Are they going to retake their bonuses? I might like to see this a 9 tack down and this 9 attack around and secure this position right here. They could have had this probably for a huge portion of the game. Not many players wanting to attack that deep into through all those different stacks that were around here. And you know, I imagine at least one bonus would have been helped from the pink player if they had pushed forward. The pink player taking some troops off stack, all of their troops off the stack right now. If one of these players have a trade on 3, if the white player again has a trade on 3, be a very vulnerable position. And this is not great. The blue player is opening up this 33 to go up, although it could have always came around. But by doing this right here, you're making it easier for you to eventually be card blocked. So I think the blue player should have taken a card out here and fortified back in. Looks like the white player not happy. Their initial capital taken. They're planning on retaking that. And they get a very decent roll. So the roll's looking great for the white player, although they do reopen that 20. Antagonizing the pink player. How will the pink player respond? If I were the pink player, what I'd do right now is I would take this bonus right here. I would including attacking the 9 down and this all around, and I would break both of these bonuses. This 28 doesn't have access out to the world. Even if you break this bonus, you'd have to attack over, which they should not do. So the pink player does do half of that. They do the latter half of that. They do not take this bonus up here. That is completely fine. Maybe not wanting to be as much of a target for the other players. Like the blue player perhaps securing a bonus, what they're really doing is locking themselves in, making it easier to card block them. But perhaps having a trade on 4 pretty soon, not intending to continue to hold it, weakening the white player a bit so they don't get those extra troops from holding multiples of 3 territories, 12 and beyond. Are they just going to retake and relax? Or, so they are going to break, but perhaps not going to break the pink player, putting themselves in a strong position, having some cooperation with the pink player. Perhaps, how will the pink player respond? I think they should still continue to break, but if they don't, the blue player probably will. So a trade-in is going to come out for this player. This player being the pink player. What are they going to do with all of these troops? They cannot overattack because they're going to be so vulnerable when the other players' trade-ins come through. Pink player deciding how much to split off. Considering how big the trade-ins are becoming, let's see how much it was. The trade-in was, where is that? 65 troops. This is very vulnerable up here. Oh my gosh, can you imagine a blue player trade on 4, come through, sniping this capital, although reopening this 50. That is a very real possibility, although I wouldn't think it's a good idea because the white player and the pink player, well, the pink player is really pointed at the white player, so I don't think you want to get the pink player with their eyes on you. So the blue player continuing hitting the white player, perhaps they have some sort of unspoken agreement, the pink player and the blue player, that they're going to attack the white player who has been so strong. How does the white player handle this? In my opinion, take a card and pass. I suppose they could choose to take their bonus and possibly break the blue player. They do choose to do that. But the blue player having a trade, maybe the white player realizing that because they fortify back onto their capital. Very smart move from the white player. Pink player breaking the white player's bonus here. Splitting, maybe just to make it more painful to retake either bonus. Where does this 3 choose to fortify? Very, very vulnerable position. The pink player still lining up on the white player. I would have liked to see this 50 fortified back onto the capital, but that is not what happens. So the blue player right now, are they going to choose to continue to hit the white player? Are they going to take a card and pass? Are they going to hit the pink player? What is going to happen? Looks like these two players continuing to work on the white player. Are they going to actually hit the pink player? I think that is not advisable. Yeah, so there does seem to be some unspoken agreement. They both realize how strong the white player is as a player, and they're making them weaker as far as their position in the game. And actually, are they working on a card block right now? This would be crazy. This would be awesome to see at this level, but not quite in the position yet to card block. The white player can still attack out right here. So the white player is going to get at least one more card. Perhaps have a trade on 4, be able to break out of that. But now we know, the white player knows, and we know, watching this video, that these players understand this concept of card blocking. And if you're a newer player, that's scary, right? So to explain card blocking, what card blocking is in progressive, getting a card, and you get a card by taking at least one territory on your turn. That card eventually leads into trade-ins when they match each other. So you notice the cards stack up over here, and then when you click on this, when you're still alive, you can pull up your cards. You can see if you have any trade-ins. It'll tell you what you are able to trade, what is an option for you to trade, and from there, it depends if you're playing fixed or progressive. If you're playing progressive, those trade-ins, the amount of troops you get from trading in grows. So it starts off very low, 4, 6, 8, and then it grows to where we are right now in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 100 troops per trade-in. So you get to the point where taking a card is so important. So what you do when you card block someone is you put yourself in the way where another player cannot take a card anymore, and they are left in a position where they are now not working towards that next larger trade-in while everyone else is. So that's what card blocking is. And if the white player doesn't have a trade on 4, the white player's card blocked, and we're going to see this in real time. White player, what do they do? Are they card blocked? If they're card blocked, how many troops did they just get? They just got, let's see, 9 troops. Oh, they do have a trade-in. Oh, no. Now what are they going to do? Are the other players patient enough and coordinated enough to restart a card block after this? I do not know. Is the white player good enough where they're going to be able to have that floating stack out and put it in such a way where the other players can't hit it? I do not know about that either. The white player may be a bit panicky, taking the pink player's capital. I actually really like this move because I don't think the white player should expect to continue to hold that capital, but when another player rolls it, it's going to really hurt. And actually the white player holding 4 out of 6 capitals, they're putting themselves in a position where they may be able to snipe that last capital from the blue player and take the other one behind it. And then we see a win. Let's see what the white player chooses to do here. Do they have a trade on 4? So the white player not having a trade on 4, at least choosing not to use it, is going to take a card and go for that trade on 5. What is the blue player going to do now? They're in a position where they could take their trade in if they have one, which it doesn't seem like they do, and they could make this. Oh, so they could stack these 80 troops on this 50 right now, take these 2 capitals from the white player if they really wanted to. We're playing such a ring around the rosy right now. Will the blue player and the pink player overcome the white player? The blue player attacking, taking those 2 capitals. Attacking a lot, perhaps even unnecessarily, although the more they take away from the white player, the more the white player has to consider. What are they going to do? Their options being limited. A card block is a very real possibility right now. So what the white player should probably do is they should add to this and just break this. And then, so they should add 3 troops right here, put the rest right here, break this, and just live their life. Because right now, look who's in the rough position. It is the pink player. Now they are going to have a trade, and it almost looks like the white player is giving that capital back to the pink player. Maybe perhaps being very friendly about it, saying, hey, if you keep fighting with me, the blue player is going to win. Is that really what you want? What does the pink player choose to do here? Blue player saying, good game. Are we going to see an establishment of the card block? Are we going to see the pink player go into the blue player? To what is going to happen here? It's really on the pink player to do something. They will determine the direction this game goes to, and it looks like they're actually going to attempt to establish a card block on the white player. So now the white player has to ask themselves, especially if the white player, if they have a trade on 3, they're going to have to ask themselves, do I just be a kingmaker a bit? Do I just give the game? Do I decide, do I take 3rd? Understand I have 3rd? And give the game to the blue player? Or do I give the game to the pink player? What does the blue player choose to do? Perhaps thinking, how do I establish this card block? They have plenty of troops to be able to do it. See what they choose to do. Looks like the blue player is going to choose to establish the card block, and the white player going to be in a very tough situation. What will they choose to do? The blue player over attacking, actually giving the white player an avenue to take more cards. That could be very frustrating to the pink player, who has put themselves in a vulnerable position right in the face of the white player. The white player chooses to retake the capital, gets a not great roll, but the white player not having a lot of options right now. So they will probably have to take any roll they can get. They're going to have 4 cards coming up. Perhaps a trade-in that might get them out of the sticky situation they're in. What does the pink player choose to do? And the pink player with a huge amount of troops right now. What are they going to choose to do? They could choose to reestablish that card block. And it's very interesting because right now, if the white player does not have a trade on 4, the pink player is going to get those 4 cards, which may make it so they're able to take out the blue player directly off the back of taking out the white player. What does the blue player choose to do? You can just see right now on the map how the card block could be established on the blue player if the pink player is able to chain a card block off of the white removal. The blue player taking the 5th capital for themselves. The pink player in a position where they can't really go anywhere. They have to go into the white player right now. The pink player, their 235 is not anywhere else. It's not open to the world. The white player saying, take the capital, pink player. If you must, take me out too. Those 4 cards looking very juicy. And the pink player doesn't do it. What a choice. Perhaps the pink player hoping to be reopened by the blue player so that 246 has a way out. Blue player thinking about what to do. Having a trade. Perhaps going to put themselves right at the back of the pink player. So the pink player must go somewhere, meaning into the white player if they want a trade so they can advance this game. The coordination between the blue player and the pink player, almost suspicious. The white player understanding it's the end, choosing not to stall, choosing to place their troops down and continue on. And looks like it will be a good game for the white player. How does the pink player respond to the 1v1? What do they choose to do? They are in a huge troop deficit right now. But 100 troops coming in. They could look to establish a card block. Very real possibility here. Thinking about what to do. This is a very complicated situation. It's going to be a 1v1 from behind from the pink player, but can they pull it out? We're going to find out. Pink player unnecessarily opening up that 75 from the blue player. It will be able to come out and attack around. Attacking a lot does not mean you're playing well. And the pink player is attacking a lot, but I do not like the situation they're putting themselves in. They have not... so they are handing the game over to the blue player, taking all their troops off capital, saying, you can take the W, first place and second for us, friendship all the way. And sometimes that's how you like to see the game end. It's not very explosive, it's not super exciting, but it's cooperation. And that maybe perhaps made the game end sooner than if we had seen that Ring Around the Rosie 3-way for several more hours, right? So this has been the Risk Grandnovice Series. Congratulations to the blue player and to the pink player and the blue player for their working together in coordination. Let's look at their ranks right now. So we have the ranks right now: beginner, 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 intermediate, beginner, and the white player very likely going to be moving up in the world with how well they played. I really enjoyed watching their play. They look like a very strong player, much stronger than beginner. And congratulations to the blue player for taking the W. This has been the Risk Grandnovice Series, where I share a lower ranked game. And I think we all learned something, and I think we had fun. I think the players had fun. I think we saw a lot of sportsmanship right here. So get out there, play some Risk, and have fun.